Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music podcast edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, and we're super excited because we have Ian Prince with us. Yay!
Hello.
Yay! And what's kind of fun is you're kind of a return guest for us because you were on this last winter.
Yep.
We had you and Casey from Porcupine.
Yep.
So that's fun. So for folks who don't
fun.
know, yeah, Ian is the drummer for Porcupine, but you've drummed for seems like everybody in town.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've played for a while. I mean, you've played with Soul Asylum, Communist Daughter, Cult. Can't say it. Cloud Cult.
Cloud Cults. Yeah.
Cloud Cult. What I love about that is that's a range of musical styles there.
Oh yeah. I suppose you're right.
Yeah, that's kind of. I of course pick all of the Minnesota bands because that's how I roll. But it must be fun to get to play all different styles.
It is. I think it all kind of fits in a certain category for me drum wise, but I guess you're right. I hadn't thought about how diverse it was.
No, when you say it fits in a category drum wise for you, what do you mean?
I think with most of them, I feel like I've been able to do play how I'm comfortable. So it doesn't seem like a stretch, you know. Does that make sense?
It does, but of course it begs the follow-up question. What have you worked on that you've enjoyed that's been a stretch?
Oh, you know, one thing I've never done is I've never played jazz.
Oh.
You know, or anything I've sort of always wanted to. But you know, the Bird Hands record that we just made is that was really kind of some of it's kind of more ambitious than what I've been doing lately. So I guess that was kind of a stretch.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about Bird Hands.
So Bird Hands is a two-piece that I have with my friend Al down in Chicago. And he's got a couple bands. One's The Life and Times, and another one is called Shiner. And he's just a super prolific, amazing musician. He also plays in the Blue Man Group in Chicago.
Oh, nice.
Super fun, yeah. So we actually just rehearsed for the first time because it was a remote project. Like he would send me something and I'd send stuff back, and which seems like
have you done that before? Sorry, Ian. Have you done that before? Because that's interesting to me. To each does a part and then you feed off, or then you put whatever you like to it, or however that process is. Is that
right? I hadn't really done that before, but I think that's now with the virus. I think a lot of people are doing that. You know, that's how people are collaborating.
You were ahead of your time then, huh?
Yeah, right.
You're like, I got this. Right. Got a plan already. How long have you guys talked about doing this before, or how long has this been in the works, I guess?
So it's been in the works a long time. We were kind of shocked to look back on some emails when we were kind of like first sharing files, and it was like 2016, I think.
Oh, wow.
So, and the record's just coming out now, and we had talked about doing something for years leading up to that. So it's probably 10 years in the works. I've known Al for 20 years or something. So, yeah.
And now you've got something coming out, and we talked a little bit we talked a little bit about at the Big Turn Festival.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were just getting started with this or something. Have you since then, as you've progressed, have you been able to play in a room together?
Yeah, once. It was like right after that. Went down, and yeah, it was super interesting because we had never we never played in a room together. Yeah, it was super fun. And I had planned on going back down there in March, and then obviously couldn't. And we had hoped to start playing shows this spring, put the album out in the fall, but who knows? I don't think anybody can plan for anything
No, God.
right now,
No.
just kind of, just like waiting. So.
When
No, but
you
it's-
said, oh, sorry. I was going to say, when you were talking before, you said ambitious. This is
Sure.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it's a little more, I guess it's a little more complicated, and the drums are way more of a focal point because it's really just the two elements. It's mainly bass guitar and drums. And, he gets a lot of different sounds from the bass. But really with just those two ingredients, you kind of have to like make it more interesting, which has been a lot of fun. A lot of times with, like say Porcupine, it's more about the vocal or, sort of classic song structures and things like that. And you don't want to get in the way, but this, it's sort of like just wide open, and it's really fun.
Kind of let loose a little bit.
Yeah, and also just staying appropriate. It's still in the context of the song, but the song is way more unorthodox to begin with than a sort of a classic, sing-songy rock song.
I was going to say, I don't know if I've ever heard of just the bass and guitar. Is there somebody that inspired you guys, or you're just like, you're my guy, someday we're going to do something together? Or
Yeah, well, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of that. And then, now that it's, kind of put together, we can see some of our influences. Like there's a band called Turing Machine, which I think it sounds a bit like, and or Trans Am, if you've ever heard of them. Trans Am, and who else? Maybe Battles. I don't know if these are all bands. But it's, these kind of like sort of weirder instrumental bands.
If you say if you had to pick a genre, how would you describe it?
Ooh.
I know that's a hard question, but
I don't know. Maybe it's kind of a little bit. It's a little post rock, I guess. I don't know. That's a thing, right?
that's a thing.
I've heard people talk about post rock.
That's a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah. I have a fake band called what is it even called? It's post.
Like the imaginary friend, a fake
Yeah,
band.
right. Yeah, it's oh my God, they're gonna. I'll think of it later. I'm just.
Oh, well, what do you mean by fake band? Like you
We
just
talk about
stick
it's with two friends of mine. We talk about we call these band meetings, and it's all This has gone horribly awry. I'm sorry.
No, it's awesome.
Ostrich, that's the name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a theme of feathered friends in your world here. Bird hands, ostrich. What, is somebody trying to say something? I don't know.
Maybe.
Not you?
No,
Okay.
I'm the drummer.
Okay. You're the quiet one in the group.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right.
But I will say from porcupine quills to soft feathers, that's a progression.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice, isn't it? Sharp,
is.
soft. I like it.
It's a gentle move for our era. I like that.
Yeah.
Can roll with that one.
So what else are you working on? What else are you doing?
And it's just kind of a lot of this, you know. I guess one nice thing about this whole pandemic and staying home is I've been able to work on some of my own ideas that I never seem to get around to. So it's kind of like forcing my hand at it, like returning to ideas that I'm like, oh yeah, you know. A lot of times I'll come up with a guitar part or a drum part and just kind of file it away for, you know, a rainy day. And now here we are. I'm kind of having to do something with it. So
so guitar is a new instrument, right, for you?
Yeah. I picked it up about 5 years ago. So still an amateur.
So in your fake band or another project in the future, are you gonna test guitar? And
We'll see. I mean, I did play some live guitar with a band called Ice Palace for a little while last year. And that was super fun. I never thought I'd be doing that. So we'll see. I don't know. I have no set plans. It's like hard to do that right now.
Well, and aside from Bird Hands, are you able to collaborate with people kind of in this time of distancing, or is it kind of all you all the time for a lot of it?
Yeah, I wish it wasn't all me all the time, but it is a lot of that. I have a couple other sort of remote collaborations with a few friends, but it's real just project based and way loose and casual, and very slow. It feels like you know what you can get done when you're all in the same room. You know, you could like write 3 songs in a night, and just sort of back and forth. Just everything is just like kind of a snail's pace, and it is what it is. But
luckily, we got nothing but time.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's kind of the same with my work, which is not at all creative. But yeah, we're planning meetings that would normally take 2 meetings, and 2.5 weeks later.
Oh wow.
You know, because even in that environment, you're not able to bounce ideas off each other and kind of riff off each other and say, oh, genius, then let's do this, and then let's do this.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Not happening. Okay, I don't know if I'm getting this right when I say this, but you can correct me and then tell me. When you were in the band, The Story by the Sea or whatever, you left it, or you guys left it, quit, whatever happened there. And did you re-record, or you're doing something? I think I listened to the podcast and you were saying something.
Well, Story of the Sea was a band with my brother that I had for about 10 years.
Yeah. The one that you were... Can I back up just a little bit? Because I love this part of your life, that I'm fascinated that you're like, oh yeah, I'll graduate school on my, on your plan, or, I mean, you did, but you left and played in a band and we're at First Avenue, 7th Street and touring and stuff, and you're technically still in high school because your brother needed a drummer. That's awesome.
Yeah, it seems kind of weird to look back on. Like it almost didn't happen, like what a strange time it was. Yeah, what was that?
Oh, sorry. I wanted to go back there just because I thought that was such a cool little tidbit of your life, because I feel like that's unusual. And then I brought up the Story of the Sea.
Mm-hmm.
and then interrupted you, so you're welcome. But you were saying that you guys were recording or doing something with the band with your brother.
Yeah, so well, the band I moved out here to join was my brother's band, and that was called Bump. That was in '96. And that band never had a record out, but we had, you know, tons of music. And about, I think maybe 10 years ago already, which was probably 10 years after the band broke up, we went and recorded all of it. You know, posthumously, just for funsies, and that's set to, you know, get finished and come out at some point. It's like 95% there. I don't know why we haven't finished it.
Do it.
It's not on me. I mean, my work is done.
Okay.
So that's kind of like sitting there, and then also Story of the Sea had an EP that we had just finished, 5-song EP that we finished when that band broke up. And I imagine that'll come out sometime too, but I don't know.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I just don't, I kind of feel like it's out of my hands in a way. Like,
In a way that's freeing, or in a way that makes you,
it's a
in
little,
my case, bite the nails?
no, I'm not too worried about it. You know, I think it'll see the light of day at some point, and it's like sort of not on me. And I'm, you know, occupied with other stuff, you know. It's all kind of things that I've already done, which, yeah, I'm always kind of looking forward, I guess.
When you take a look back at some of that stuff, and I've asked people this before, and I just had a incident in my work of sort of the same thing. What do you think looking back? Do you listen to something and go, nailed that, that was good? Or do you listen to it and go, you know, why did they let me get my hair cut that way? You know, what is it like?
There's a bit of both, for sure. There's definitely some stuff that I'm surprised at how much I think it's still relevant, and like, I like that still, you know. And then there's times where it's like, ooh, that's cringy, you know. But thankfully, there's not that much of that, you know. I think younger generation is going to have so much documentation of awkwardness, you know, like just like online, you know, social media. It's like, it's just there's just so much content out there that, you know, I'm sort of glad this technology didn't exist when we were younger. You know?
Every day.
Yeah, right?
Every day. Yes. We've been quarantined for 2 months now. My lovely daughter has bleached her hair 3 times. They're not all good bleaching.
Sure. Right.
Yeah, but we have it well documented, you know.
Yeah, right.
She's a beautiful girl. But it is, well, and it's funny, especially I think now you take a look at that age group. It's like, now they got nothing but themselves to entertain themselves.
Yeah, right.
You know, and thank God for it. You know, what would we be doing without these if we were sheltering in place right now?
I don't know.
Imagine trying to collaborate with people if it was all going through the U.S. mail.
I have done that, actually. I have my first remote collaboration was with a friend of mine up in Duluth, and we called it Pen Pals. It was I would actually mail him a CD of something, and he'd work on it. We didn't, it didn't go very far, but because it was so arduous. Yeah, it's way more. I just watched Roger Waters do a Zoom thing where he's like playing with his whole band, and it was like amazing. Like, I don't know how they did that, but all in their own spaces, and that's pretty incredible.
It is. It's amazing, and that is some awesome technology. I mean, my day job is all broadband, but that's everybody being pretty well connected.
Yeah, right.
Or it's someone doing an amazing sound job. Although it's a sound
Right.
job on the fly, how do you do that with?
I don't know.
But I think people will get better and better at it. I mean, are you watching any online concerts?
Not too many. Like I was thinking about this earlier. Like I'm normally for the charm of like a DIY thing, but for some reason these home shows and the streaming, it's a little too like low budget for me or something. It's like, I don't know. I wish people would think about the camera angle a little more and lighting.
Yeah.
Like just take a little more time with like with the effort. It's always like some grainy video, and they're like backwards. They're like playing lefty, even though they're like right,
Yeah.
it's like the iPhone, no doubt. But I don't know. I haven't been super engaged with it. I don't know. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's funny. It's hard. I spend so much time on my computer anyways,
Mhm.
the way that I take in music now is that I listen to it when I walk. Of course,
Oh.
it's the same way I do Zoom calls, for work too, but it's hard when you're on your computer for work all day, every day. It's hard to say, all right, grab my beer, sit down with it. I don't.
Yeah, right.
I've attended a few of them and I've enjoyed them. It's nice if they could do something different, but yeah, it's hard to. And I think that there's an opportunity. If there was an opportunity to see some new collaborations, I think that's kind of exciting.
Sure. Right.
And you do kind of see it. I think it was I just saw Adam Levy was posted something about watching the sausage get made. And it's him writing a song, and there's something kind of interesting about that too. It's kind of that behind the scenes, but yeah, it's not the primary way I take in music right now.
Yeah. Right.
Which is funny because I think the old way I took in a lot of music was driving, which I was never a big driver anyways, but I'm sure I'm not in the car an hour a week now.
Oh, wow.
Where am I going to go?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. How are you taking in music now?
I do a lot in the car, actually. I still drive a fair amount. I'm actually a fan of CDs. I still like listening to a whole record. Like it'll just be like the same record for a week or something, And then when I'm here, I'm working on office stuff. I'll put on Spotify. And I'm constantly discovering new people,
Yeah. Who are you listening to? What have you?
Oh, I'm on the spot. Hey, it's all over the place. Have you ever heard of this? Marika Hackman is one that I like a lot. She's a British songwriter. I think she's just super interesting. Grouper is another one. Nils Fromm. Do you know who that is?
That name does ring a bell, but I don't know.
He's he's a German composer. It's all instrumental, a lot of piano-based music. I actually went and saw him at the Cedar last year, and it was incredible.
Maybe that's why it's funny because at the first couple of weeks I realized I wasn't listening to music. I went, before this happened, I went to go see music 6 or 7 nights a week, pretty much.
Crap.
Yeah, so it's that was a huge change for me. And then I'm not driving, so I'm not listening to there. And then the radio show is shifted to online, but I knew that I was finally kind of in a better place. I used to do solo disco, which means I just put on the headphones as loud as I can, and I listen to Magnetic Field 69 love songs. I'm like,
Nice.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And then they just put out a new song. They've got a new album out, so that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, as of Saturday or Friday. It was a Friday.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, but it is. I like to hear now how people are hearing music different, get some recommendations because otherwise I'm listening to the same.
Yeah. We almost always at dinner I put on music too. We'll usually a lot of times spin vinyl. Lately, I've been making a point of putting on because it's usually just like one side of a record. In the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to put on just like side B because we never get to side B. So that's been kind of fun.
Is there one that your son will be like, play that record, or is there one that he tends to gravitate to?
He's pretty open-minded. He likes. On his birthday, I played Beastie Boys,
Ooh.
Paul's Boutique, because he likes hip hop, and I don't really have much hip hop, honestly. So we played that on his birthday, and he's generally game for most of what we listen to. A lot of Dr. Dog. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of fun dinner time music.
Is he making you listen to anything of his besides Dr. Dog? Because I feel like you could handle that yourself. That wouldn't be a stretch for you, I don't think.
What's that?
Dr. Dog.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm saying, is there something where he's like, I want to listen to the Spice Girls or something, and you're like,
absolutely not. Yeah, right. No, there's some EDM that he likes, and it's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like just he likes to have it going while he's like shooting basketball, basketball hoops on the over the door basketball.
Oh, nice.
Slam dunk.
Yes, we do like a lot of slam dunk contests. Actually, I busted his board. I was a little overzealous one time. I just slammed it, shattered. Oh, dad.
Living a past dream.
Yeah, right. Like, check this out. Ooh.
With your tongue out, Michael Jordan style.
Yeah, exactly. So that happened. We quickly turned it into a project and replaced the backboard with wood, and it turned into a positive experience. But at first, it was not so good.
I was going to say, they already took the name Birdman for a basketball player, and I know you have a theme there, so you're going to have to pick something else for that.
For sure. My name. I'm actually learning a lot about basketball players. Oscar's way into sports, and I don't know anything about basketball. I've actually gone to more Timberwolves games in the last couple of years than I ever have.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, actually. Never thought I would enjoy that sort of thing, but I can see it. I can see why people like it.
Do you have the jerseys or a jersey?
He does. He's got all kinds. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're a t-shirt guy. Do you have their t-shirt at least? You got to have something.
No.
Oh, killing me.
Not yet. I'm okay with it. I'm not a fan, I would say.
Okay.
I have said I walk a lot with my dad in the morning, and I come from a very sporty family. I'm I can name 2 football teams maybe, but one might be basketball. But I was saying, now is a good time for a kid who wants to perfect their free throw.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm trying to find for myself, and I'm trying to find for my kid. What would be perfecting the free throw?
Yeah, right.
I walk by one kid who is every day we see him. He's out there practicing the basketball, and I think he's gonna walk out of this quarantine with a scholarship.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think for some people this is there's definitely a positive to just that's like woodshedding, like musicians talk about that, going out to the woodshed and getting super good. And I wonder with bands even, like, which ones are going to come back, like, you know, better than ever, and which ones I might just kind of fall by the wayside, right? I think.
I was thinking that about that earlier of, you know, kids just starting out or bands just kind of getting momentum, and maybe you would have some insight like this be good because yeah, they get the time to practice like you were saying,
Yeah, right.
or you know, starting out, do you need that, like you said, it's easier to write and collaborate when you're not sending stuff back and forth or whatever. I don't know. It makes me think, is more gonna disintegrate or build up?
I don't know. I think there's pros and cons to it. I think a lot of, you know, I think there's probably going to be a lot of instances where, like, you'll get these groups of musicians that have spent this time getting better at their instrument and their craft, and then when they kind of come back together, it's going to be incredible. Because I think too, I mean, sometimes if you're like not forced to do that, I mean, yeah, I think you can get by with not really progressing a whole lot. Like if you get into a situation with a band per se, and finding something that works, there's like no reason to like break out of that. So maybe this will force people to, I don't know, branch out and progress in ways that they wouldn't have otherwise. I don't know.
Well, kind of like you are with stretching for doing something entirely new with your.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not my first choice. I'd much rather get in a room with my friends and make some music, but I'll take this as well. This is good.
Do you find that you're listening to anything that's entirely different? Like I think of the band, like all of a sudden half of Cloud Cult, to pick on them, comes back, and you know 3 of them are now into death metal because of the where you just all of a sudden different bands reemerge. It's a totally new genre because of the shared experience.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, sometimes I do hear some like pop nowadays where it's just like, oh, this, I cannot get with this at all. You know, like it's way too happy or something. It's like, I don't know. Where I feel like before the pandemic, I was a little more tolerant.
Well, I like to think that's true of everybody because I was a lot more tolerant in everything.
Oh, across the board, sure.
Across the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be interesting. I just think it'll be interesting to see what comes out. If you can, you know, wave the old magic wand, what would you like to be able to do? You can do anything tomorrow that's old school. You want to meet in a band, meet with your band in a rehearsal hall, you want to be on stage, you want to be on a plane to Paris, what would you?
Oh, if that's an option, I'll take that.
Take that one.
Yeah, sky's the limit. Yeah, I don't know. There's groups of friends that I would love to play with again, you know, just in a room. The idea of playing a live show right now seems strange to me because I haven't rehearsed with anyone in 2 months, you know, so that seems really foreign. But just to get loud again, and I think that's what I would choose.
I would choose to have a ticket to that. That would be
Nice.
good. But it is what it's kind of good to wrap it up there. But you said thinking of all the people that you'd like to play with. You know, 1 to 10, what would be your interest in calling some of those people and saying, hey, would you want to try something on Zoom or another platform?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't considered that.
I mean, can you jam? I mean, can you just sort of play around on something like that? I mean, I have no idea. I don't.
I don't know. Maybe for certain types of music that would work better than others, but I feel like with what I tend to do is a little too loud, and it needs to be a little more instant, you know. But maybe, I mean, if it's like another 8 months of this, like I'm like we might have to
Yeah.
try that out. And I've been playing a lot of electronic drums, so maybe that's a thing. Um, we'll see. I hope it doesn't come to that.
No, I hope not. So as you talk, because what I was thinking that I was missing from seeing live music was dancing. I mean, I'm, you know, I'm a belly to the stage dancer, you know, at a show. I love to dance. It's my favorite thing. But I think being the person who likes to be right, you know, I will be deaf in 3 years from all my live music and being front and center. But it's feeling that music that I miss from being in the audience.
Yeah, right.
And I'd say that's got to be an even more acute feeling if you're on stage. Of course, you could get on the drums and you could do it yourself.
Yeah, it's not as fun. Like being a drummer is kind of lonely, you know. Like
It's, you know, I have talked to a few who are like, you know, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I do it all the time, but you know, it's a different thing. Like it's not that it's not musical, but you don't really hear too many songs that are only drums, you know.
Right.
So I don't know. But yeah, also I think volume has a lot to do with it too. Being able, just kind of being engulfed like at a live show, where it's like you can't even talk to somebody else. It's just something nice about that. Actually,
it's the best.
Yeah, we actually had the radio on today, and there was a Pearl Jam song that came on. I was feeling it, so I just walked over and just cranked it. And Oscar and I were kind of like jumping around the house, and it was fun.
I love that.
Yeah.
When you played guitar, what did you say? Ice Palace, I think. What's the feeling compared to when you drum? Or your stage, you know, different.
It was so different. Well, one, you know, being a drummer, you get to sit behind a shield.
Yeah.
Just kind of nice. And also, I'm good at the drums. I'm not good at the guitar. So I'm like out in front, standing with an instrument I'm not very good at, which is like much different experience than sitting safely behind my drums.
You're not as good as the drummer.
Right. Thanks.
Yeah.
But did you, if you felt that you were good, which we know you are, but you know, what, like, you know, like Guitar Hero, like you just stand up straighter, you don't have the safety of the drums, and you kind of have your whatever different persona bust out.
I think I would. I mean, I didn't ever get to that place with it. I mean, I think it would be fun to be really confident in your instrument and like owning it on stage. I'm kind of jealous of guitar players that can do that. And bass players just like getting up there and having like, you know, Greg jumps are all over the place, and that looks like a lot of fun. You
He's
know,
a good jumper.
I was going to say, he's got to do a lot of squats or something. Cause I'm like, how are you? He's not giving out.
I think he spends a lot of time at the Y, or at least he used to.
Or bikes, something.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Right. But to be able to do that and then also play well, I mean, I don't know. And Casey's like super stoic, you know, like but he's got a lot going on, you know. He's singing and playing guitar, and his guitar parts
Which in the mic. Yeah. So you
Yeah,
haven't.
I have trouble with this, you know.
So do I.
Yeah, yeah, I'd be in trouble.
Have you played since the Big Turn Festival at
No,
all? Oh,
nada. That was my last show that I've
Jeez.
played with anybody.
so glad we went. Oof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. All those people told me I was wasting my time, live music 6-7 nights a week. I was not.
Yeah, yeah. Good for you.
Yeah, I was not. I was not. So that's my hope for the summer. My hope for the summer is that I can see a few. Even I said, you know, the Turf Club should ask me how much I'd pay to go and see any band right now. They can afford some distancing. I'll just say that. But it'd be nice if they find a way to do smaller, you know, smaller audiences and larger venues or outside, or you know, you hear about the drive-in concerts. Everybody sits in the car, and
Oh yeah.
we'll find a way.
Yeah, there's gotta be.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way.
Uh,
Until then, what are your goals for the summer, and how can people get to you?
I don't know. I don't really have many goals right now. Um,
How can we find Bird Hands? Because I tried to find that, and
well, it's not out yet. I think that it's we're shooting for September.
Well, that sounds like a goal.
Yeah, I guess there's
It's
my
a
goal.
biggie.
Yeah, September. You know, put out a record and hopefully play some shows for it.
Good.
Yeah. I'm just thankful. Actually, last year was like one of the busiest years I've had in forever. Like 2019, I'm super thankful for it. Going, just having that and into now is just like it kind of like, well, at least last year was good. I don't know.
The lesson is never say no.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, never say no. But people can find you online, and people can find Porcupine online right now, and other projects that you're. What's the best way to follow what you're doing?
I'm reachable. I mean, through Facebook or Instagram. That's one thing with this pandemic too. I've been considering is like being more responsible with my online presence. Like a lot of people have like their own websites even, or like a YouTube channel, and I don't know. I just get so sick of me. It's like I don't want to bother. I'd rather do something else. But maybe the longer this goes on, the more likely it'll be. Like I made a drum book. Like I wrote all these. I basically wrote a drum instruction book. That's like basically it's done, but it's just kind of sitting there. So it's like, well, maybe I should do that.
Do something.
Yeah. Do like a online, like a PDF ebook of it.
You just that's a huge part.
I would take it.
Yeah.
I need it. I'll be your first customer. I've
It's
been
all-
very bad.
It's all about odd time signatures, but it's like real rudimentary. Okay, well I'll you'll be the first.
I'll be your guinea pig first customer.
Have you been drumming?
I have, but not well.
Oh.
But it made me feel better when you were talking about clicker and you didn't like it because every time I YouTube something and they're like clicking and then I'm trying to keep up and getting frustrated or whatever, and I was like, oh, I feel better. Ian didn't like it either. Wasn't used to it. I'm not a failure.
Well, good.
So yeah.
There's a ton. There's so much content out there. Like, if something's not working for you, just move on to another thing.
Like guitar?
Are you sure?
No, just kidding. Okay. Thank you for that advice. Cause yeah, frustration.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good teachers out there, and there's some not so good ones too. Um, which is the nice thing about the internet. You can kind of like just weed through them all. Like, imagine getting stuck with a teacher like you go see in person. That's not very good.
Yeah.
And then how long it would take to figure out, like, I don't think they're very good at their job. You know, that could take months before you realize that.
True.
I don't know.
You know, I'll think back to school.
Yeah.
Who wasn't so good, so.
Oh man.
Well, Ian, thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks, folks, for listening to Mostly Minnesota Music. And yeah, we'll get this online soon and we'll get some links to you.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. Thanks.